Godzilla vs. Kong, the movie we've all been waiting for? No, not really. I forgot it was even coming out. And if you see my previous reviews, you know I wasn't very optimistic based on the previous 3 movies. But Godzilla vs. Kong, you're thinking, okay, maybe this is the one, okay? The other ones have been a bit meh, but it's been building up to this. This is the showdown. This is the big monkey versus the big lizard, and it's going to be epic and awesome. Now, the premise of this is that Godzilla has just turned bad. He's just messing cities up and destroying things, and everyone's like, oh, I guess he's turned evil. Let's get Kong. That is basically your movie. You don't know why they're going for Godzilla and why Godzilla would be acting up, at least not initially. Especially as Godzilla is like the hero in the 2 movies he was in before. And around that, you've got a host of characters. You've got like one group of characters trying to figure out what's really going on here, like trying to find the underlying hidden secret about why Godzilla's acting up. And then you've got another group of people that are with Kong. They're sort of transporting him around and, you know, trying to get him to Zilla and also figure out their own mystery. And once again, as I've said with the previous movies, the humans are a problem in this movie. There's just too many of them. You've got like 6 main characters that you're trying to balance here, so you can't really get attached to any of them. The only like returning person was Millie Bobby Brown, and the guy who plays the dad, but you only see him for about like 4 minutes of the movie. Millie Bobby Brown was more annoying in this movie as well. She was not as likable as she was in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And out of the new additions, the only one I really liked was this guy called Bernie. He just had a bit of actual personality to him. He was the only one that I maybe gave more than 2 shits about. But even then, he was still more of like a comic relief character. He just spoke really fast and said funny things sometimes. But you know, it's one of those where they're dropping one-liners at times where you think, this is not the time to drop a one-liner. Like, you're in a serious situation right now. You know, you could get killed by a giant monster and you're saying a punchline. And you know, with this cast, again, you're gonna recognize the whole cast. They're all familiar faces, but none of them really get dedicated screen time. You know, no one probably gets more than like 10 minutes worth of dialogue, which is splitting it between, you know, 6 people. And that has been the problem in the previous Monsterverse movies, and it's once again the main problem in this movie here, although it does have other problems too. I mean, one of the characters they introduced is this like deaf girl who, I don't know, is tight with Kong, and like Kong trusts her and they like sign language to each other. I guess the makers of the film thought we would just automatically be like, yeah, we like this character a lot because she's a little girl, therefore we really feel for her and are connected to her. No, not really. It doesn't matter what is going on with her character. She's a new character. I mean, to be fair to her, she was very good in this movie, you know, a good little actress. But on the other hand, I didn't really care what happened to her, and I didn't like feel emotionally invested. Now let's talk about the monsters. Godzilla was just disrespected and done completely dirty in this movie. You just didn't get enough of him, and whenever you see him, he's just evil and you just don't know why. But when you eventually find out why he's acting up, it's just a stupid reason. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's cheap. It's like a quick way to get this plot moving. In the first Godzilla was very likable. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, despite how terrible the movie is, he's still very likable again. But in this, he's just not likable. I prefer him to Kong as well, but he's just not likable in this movie. Godzilla is a he, right? Yeah. Kong in this movie, I don't know. It's just hard to really give much of a damn. I think his character design looked very cool, but apart from that, just a whole lot of unnecessary roaring, chest pounding, and yeah, big monkey. You know, at least in the first movie, it was only the humans that kind of sucked. And even then, they were decent for like the first half of the movie. But in this movie, the humans and the monsters suck. So it's just a double whammy. As you know, Mecha Godzilla is in this movie as well. He just, I don't know, Robotzilla. They actually had a scene, and I couldn't believe they even did it. I should have known they were going to do it. You know, 3 of our characters, they see the Mecha Godzilla, and one of them says, oh my god, it's a Robotzilla. And then the guy next to him just says, no, it's Mecha Godzilla. And I'm just thinking, okay, yeah. I mean, we knew it was Mecha Godzilla. You don't need a character to just be like, yeah, it's Mecha Godzilla. How did he know that's what it's called? Did he just make it up? Did he just correct the guy for no reason? The first guy wasn't wrong. It is a robot Godzilla. My first instinct would be to say Robot Godzilla, not Mecha Godzilla. It's just one of those scenes that just happens and you're just like, what? Why? Now, we're going to get a little spoilery here, but I need to talk about this. Now, in this version of the world, of the planet Earth, they have this thing called Hollow Earth, which involves them traveling in some spacecraft that looks like it's from Star Wars, going down through the center of the Earth, and then they go through it like a wormhole that sends them 1,000 miles deeper into the Earth's core. And then the Earth doesn't have a core, it has like a paradise that's like jungles and volcanoes, but you've got jungles or volcanoes on the bottom and then on the top because you're at the center. So if you jump too high, the gravity shifts and then you land on the other bit. You're probably thinking, what the hell are you talking about? I know, this doesn't even sound like it should be in this movie. It just sounds like a sci-fi film. Blown away. I mean, this is the Earth's core, right? Like over 1,000 miles from the surface, and there is a literal sunrise and a skyline. When I saw that, I was like, how the hell is the sun shining down here? What is the source of light in this core of the Earth? What? Also, why is there like a wormhole on their way down? Something that can just transport them 1,000 miles in like a second. I could not for the life of me understand what they were thinking with this. And on top of this, as we've said, it's over 1,000 miles deep. At one point, Godzilla shoots his radiation breath down into the Earth, so it reaches this core, this hollow Earth, because Kong is down there, and then Kong climbs up this like, you know, crevice that's been created, which is over 1,000 miles, right? And he just goes up it in probably a minute or two. 1,000 miles. And on top of that, whilst he was climbing up, Godzilla could have just shot his breath down there and finished him off. And you know, these two monsters, they're fighting each other because they're meant to, you know, they're the apex predators and they're just meant to fight each other. But that just, for me, that doesn't seem like a good enough reason. You know, they just see each other and they're like, oh, it's you. And then that's their fight. That's the reason they fight. I mean, I won't tell you how it ends in case for some reason you want to watch this. Underwhelming would be an understatement though. And also, I want to mention that, you know, the monsters at the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, if for some reason you watch that movie, even though I told you not to, right at the end, Godzilla has got like a load of the other big famous monsters sort of surrounding him and they're like worshipping him. They're just not in this movie. So I don't know where they're at. Where have they gone between Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong? You know, I think the problem with this movie was that it was too short, but I'm also thankful that it wasn't longer. This movie just needs to be fleshed out a whole lot more. You can kind of tell after the initial first 5 minutes that this movie is being rushed. They're really just moving along rapidly to get this story going. Like, before you know it, Kong is on a boat and then Godzilla's rocking up in the sea. It felt rushed. It felt like they needed to pace this a lot better and take their time with the story, but as has been with all the other movies, they're just trying to get it going so they can get to monster stuff. And you would think, like, yeah, the viewer just wants to see monsters, so that's fine. But also, no, we want to see a good story. You know, for me, I want the characters to be likable. I want there to actually feel like there's something at stake, as do a lot of people. This just reminds me of the original Justice League, the Justin League. It just felt like everything was rushed, everything was cut, no one was likable, and it was hard to really care about anything. I know it sounds like I absolutely hate this movie. I guess I don't know what I expected. I am disappointed, but I was kind of expecting disappointment anyway. I guess the main benefits from this is that it did look really good. The sound effects were very good. The visuals were solid, and some of the performances here were decent. Mainly the character of Bernie. I would like to see him in more things. He seems like a very good actor, and I think he should be in more stuff based on his performance here, because for me, he's easily the most memorable. I think this is definitely better than Godzilla 2. Godzilla King of the Monsters. Maybe it's better than Kong Skull Island. It might just be about the same level, but it certainly isn't better than the first Godzilla. It's kind of hard with this one. It wasn't like awful, but it just wasn't good. Like, I did find myself getting bored watching it. I did just sort of think, oh, when is this going to end? Because it's actually a relatively short movie for what I thought it was going to be. Like, it's an hour 50. If I'm going to score this movie, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. So yeah, it looks like this might be the end of the Monsterverse. I bloody hope so. Maybe they'll make more sequels to this. I really don't know. I'm not really sure I want to see anything else that they make in future, but you know what? I'd be curious. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.